Hey kids, Erie Eric here, in the flesh, or the pixels. Nah. Anyways, tonight I want to talk about something kind of cool, to me anyways, it's cool to me. You either can click away or sit here and listen, one or the other. Doesn't make any difference to me. I'm getting it off my chest. So, I want to talk about late 60s, early 70s ShowRods. They were something that was a huge influence in my life when I was very young. And I was around a lot of really crazy stuff when I was a kid, and that stuck with me. And these guys that built this stuff, I just think they were gods at the time. And to me, they're still gods. This stuff is not being built anymore for the most part. The stuff that was built back then is now stuff that is being purchased, restored, cherished, displayed. It's just the coolest thing out there. It does that visceral experience thing when you look at it. It looks like it's doing 1,000 miles an hour sitting still. It looks like it'll fly or spin or rotate or hover off into the moon or whatever it's meant to do. These things look the part, and that's the beauty of that art form. It is an art form. It is nothing other than this gorgeous candy flaked thing, and Tom Wolfe wrote about it, and man, he nailed it. Did he ever? These cars influence models, coloring books, cartoons, Hot Wheels, slot cars. I probably said slot cars twice or something. I'm not sure. Can you tell I'm excited? Anyways, they just were that thing back then. Advertisers sucked it up and ate that stuff like it was going out of style. Show promoters. Did you ever see a normal or a mild custom on a show promoter's flyer back then? No, you saw the Mysterion, the Orbitron, the Little Red Coffin, the Uncertainty, the Boot Hill Express, the Raiders Coach, the Red Baron, stuff like that. That was the stuff that the Forecasta or whatever. Stuff like that is what you saw on the flyers because it would draw crowds. It was like, man, that's gonna be there. I want to see that. All the other stuff was that. All the other cars that were there, man, they were just filler. I mean, they were cool. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of it was just filler. Those early ShowRods, or the really radical ShowRods, they were the thing. At least wise for me. And then you had, there's just. God, I'm trying to get it all out. This is like spewing of information, so I'm excited because I really like this topic. I grew up around some really neat stuff. As a kid, there were a couple builders, in the surrounding area that I grew up in. I'm going to mention one, Iron Horse South in Blaisdell, New York. Mickey Taylor and his 3 sons, Kevin, Mike, and Eric, they did some stuff, man. They were a lot of chopper stuff at the time. Mickey was a magician with a torch. That's all I can tell you. His oldest son Kevin carried that on. Mike, he's doing his thing. Mike also does tattoos, but it's just this cool lifestyle of custom cars, custom choppers, and just the crazier the better. And they really were an influence on me younger, and I got a lot of ink from Iron Mike, but there were other cars in my town. There was a dude running around on a Ross style VW trike forever, and it was like all these different greens and metal flakes and chrome on everything, and he had a big beard and gray hair out the back, and just every summer you saw that thing all over the place. Down the street from me there was this guy. I don't even know the family's name. I don't even know their name, but they had an older son. I know that much. He had to be in his 20s or something at the time. He had the most cut up, chopped up, slammed, lowered chrome Krager wheels, white lettered candy. It was like olive greens and flake and fur interior, and it was half convertible and half not, and it was a Bug. It was a Volkswagen Bug, I think, but it had been so modified that you could barely tell what the thing was. And I loved it because I had no clue really what it was. I can kind of tell you the shape of my memory when I'm like 6, 7 years old. That's where we're going back to. these things were an impression. These things left an impression on me. You know, this is why this thing exists. You know, I wanted the craziest thing. You know, it's not the craziest, but it's crazy. I like it. You know, it's what I did. So I'm gonna get it ready to build I'm building the next really crazy one. So, but all that was influenced by that style show rod. You know, the models that came from that. Tom Daniels. If you don't know who Tom Daniels is, look him up. He put Monogram on the map, and I know Monogram was around for before him, but Tom Daniels in that era, his artwork and his model designs changed so much that left the other companies behind and in the dust. Revell had their deal with Roth, and Roth did it, and we were all building Roth bubble tops and Outlaws and Beatnik Bandits and Mysterions and Road Agents, and Surfites, you know, stuff like that. And thank you for doing that. But it's one of those things where now all that stuff's kind of gone. I mean, there's models starting to resurface. Like, I see that certain giant chain store that you can buy anything, like motor oil and eggs, is now selling models again. I mean, now the glue sucks. The paint is absolutely horrible. The glue takes like 24 hours to fully cure. Like, it's ridiculous. But the models are still being produced, which is amazing. I'm happy. And I'm happy to see them in a mainstream store being sold. Now, who knows if they're being actually sold or if they're just there, but I would hope they are. You know, the questions that I'm sure that they got at the time is the same stuff that I get now with this car. Oh, you know, how much gas mileage does it get? It gets hot under that bubble, does it? You can't actually drive that. You can't insure that. It's a waste of parts. It's a thing. It's just, you can't do anything with it. What do you do with it? Let me tell you something. I drive this thing everywhere. Drive it all over the place. I drive it to work. I go to the grocery store. I go to Sonic. I go to the parts store. I go to the hardware store. I take it wherever the heck I want to go. And do you know why I do that? Because when I was a kid and I saw those old show rods, it was one of those things where, man, I would love to just be able to just drive it. Just drive it, do whatever with it. So I made one that I could go do that with. You know, it's not for everybody, and it's not everybody's cup of tea. And I'm not like, oh, if you don't follow this, you're not cool, you know? It doesn't matter. To me, what you think of these, it's my influences, it's what I think of this stuff and where I come from. And this is what I chase, is that style, that crazy, crazy, crazy style. You know, there's nothing better than that for me, from my perspective. The influence that this stuff had, like Hot Wheels. When I was a kid, Hot Wheels was still influenced by these show rods. You could get this really wild stuff for $1, for $1, and I was ruined at that point. I mean, hello, $1. I mean, you could mow a couple lawns and make a couple bucks and go restock the Hot Wheels case. You know, why not? I have to check my notes here real quick, because sometimes I have a tendency to ramble. Imagine that. So we talked about, so they're, you know, the negatives that people think that they are. Yeah, pretty much I kind of covered it all. What do we got over here? Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I have these neat little candies, these little pucker up things that I've been eating. They're amazing. I used to get them a gazillion years ago in the Derby butcher. I remember walking in there and driving in there, and my parents had a 67 Tempest with a 400 in it. And I was a little kid, but I have pictures of this car. So I remember sitting in the back seat, and for whatever reason, that car smelled like peanut butter all the flipping time. It was crazy. I remember driving up to the butcher, like she would go grocery shopping, whatever, and I'd be in that car in the back or whatever, and have to go into the butcher, and there'd be all these bright neon price tags, and then the candy machines had pucker ups in them. So for like 5 cents or 10 cents or whatever the heck they were, a quarter, I'd sit there and eat candy and stare at these bright neon colors. I wonder where it came from that I like neon. That color right there. Yeah, that's what did it for me. Anyway, so I'm feeling nostalgia. There's neon everywhere, and I'm eating pucker-ups. So, with these cars, I mean, you had, I can't even name them all, but stuff that stuck out to me. I love the Boot Hill Express. I love the Raiders coach. Obviously, the Ross stuff. Hello, I can't deny the coolness that Ross stuff is. You know, the uncertainty. I love that thing. It's cool. It's so different, and I'm sure at the time, I don't know if he got in a lot of grief to build that car. I don't know if Steve Scott got grief to build that car. I don't know if Dave Stuckey got grief cutting up his car all the time. I don't know that that was a thing, because I think at the time then it was more accepted to do that. It seems that now it's not as accepted anymore, and I don't understand why. It's like the custom car world's broken. Where did the custom car world all of a sudden separate and go, no, they all have to look like this now. They have to have these types of wheels. It has to be this type of trend, this fad, this color. Oh, well, you need this type of fuel injection now. You need this, that, and the other thing, or it's just awful. It's just beans, you know. And I don't know where that happened. I don't know where we took the detour to where everything has to be the same flavor. That's not what this planet's supposed to be, kids. I don't know how to tell you that, but newsflash. Different is better. Different changes things. And it should all be that way. It shouldn't, or how do I put this? The openness of being different should just be. I don't know how else to tell you that, but I really think the custom car world is broken. There's some, not to say that there's not nice stuff out there, but it all looks the same to me. You know, it's the same flavor, different wrapper every time. It's boring to me. It just is. So stuff like the Blue Demon Trike, that is not boring to me. It's not. It's not the most craziest thing that's been in my head or Mr. Roussel's head by any means. But I love the fact that we got together and did something like that. And it's cool. And when you're in that thing and riding it, I don't care. The pegs don't have grips on them, or your feet can fall off, or what do you do if you hit a speed bump, or this or that, or there's no headlight. Oh, well, it's a trike because it's got four wheels. It's this. It's not a trike. It's a quad. It's not a trike. I don't care. It's a cool vehicle. And when I sit on it and pull that throttle and take off, I am the baddest thing on the planet. And anybody who sits on it and does the same thing and rides it, in their mind, they are the baddest thing on the planet. They just are. It just gives you that feeling. It builds and gives you a visceral experience. And that's what custom cars are supposed to do. They're not supposed to be this white toast across the board thing. And anybody that defies that or goes off on a tangent, leave them alone. They're leopards now. I never understood that. I never will. As far as I'm concerned, anyone that thinks that way, you can go the other direction from me, please. Please, please, please. Because you're really missing out, which is a real shame. You shouldn't, take it all in. This world, it's an oyster, man. There's some neat stuff here. There's some bad stuff here. There's some really neat stuff here. And if you just do the glass half empty thing, you're gonna miss out on a lot. I wish these cars, these vintage show rods, I wish there were more. I wish people would kind of look back and do their own flavor to it. You know, this stuff when we all get together and go to car shows, we'll take the old lung here, we'll take the trike, and we had Jeremy Jones come out this past weekend, and he brought Space Junkie 1.5. It's a cool car. I like that car. The car doesn't like me that much because the first time I saw that car, I took it apart and changed it. Put a whole other body on it. And I'm pretty sure that there's some bad juju in that coming my way at some point. But I'm glad it's all back together now, and Jeremy did a great job. But we're at shows, and we'll have all this stuff, and be like, wow, man, I remember these type of cars from this, from way back when. And we all get the same feedback. Nobody's really doing this anymore. These are cool. These are so cool. thank you. I'm blessed and honored and glad that you like it, because man, I dig the same thing. And it's a shame because you get people that miss them. Well, they should be built. There should be more. Do that. You know, how many 50s Mercs can you really build? How many Model A's can you really build? And I love those cars. I do. I love those cars. I love the proper hot rod, proper custom. There's nothing better in the world. But there doesn't need to be, they don't all need to be that. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to get across. And the 60s, 70s ShowRods, they changed my life for the better. Or the worse, if you look at my bank account. Anyways, that's it for now. We're gonna continue this. Please hit the comments, tell me what you think, and we'll talk about it more. You know, I'm gonna maybe talk about plexiglass and acrylic, where this stuff kind of was developed and where it came from, why it was developed, and who kind of started that whole thing with these suckers. And there's a couple other things I want to talk about here and there. So it won't be very often, but every now and then I'll get on here and kind of let out what's in my brain. But please do yourself a favor. Look up, Google search, late 60s, early 70s ShowRods. Hit the Google images and just go through it all and take it all in. Check it all out. Do some research. Find a favorite builder. See what he was into. You know, don't do the closed-minded thing. These things are not gone forever. Everything has a way of coming around full circle, and I think there's something on the verge that's coming, because there's a lot of boringness coming out of this stuff lately, and it's got to change, or else we're gonna lose a lot of our hobby. So that's my soapbox. I'm gonna get off it for now. Thank you for watching. Continue, I guess. We'll try to do some more interesting stuff. I'm not a real record guy or video guy. I like building stuff and kind of being in my own head. So this is a little different for me. So it's not all fun and games all the time, kids, I suppose. So, all right, but peace. Be nice to one another. Be kind. Do some research. Find a cool car. Research it out. Find everything there is out to know about it. Get back to me. All right. See ya. Peace. Be good.